Welcome to Illo Talk. This is Cory Kerr, and you can find my stuff as always at corykerrart.com. That's corykerrr.com. And follow me on different social media channels and whatever. If you go to corykerr.com, you can just click on social media and they're all there. Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and whatnot. Today I wanted to talk about just what I'm working on. There's not necessarily a topic for this episode, though I guess you could call the topic motion and animation. And this isn't anything groundbreaking or revelatory or anything, but movement catches people's attention, you know? And I've been getting into animation a lot lately, and I am currently making an animated short. And I wanted to talk about that. What you guys are seeing on the screen, for those of you that are watching this on a video rather than listening to the podcast, this is me creating kind of the background, and I did a multi-layered background so I could get a parallax effect as the camera moves across it. And I'll show that at the end. You can kind of see what this is for. There's some client work that I was working on that kind of came about. But anyway, so I started making things move kind of in a really weird way. Right after I graduated college a number of years ago, a long time ago, I worked for this place, which will remain nameless because of what I'm about to say for it. And it was kind of weird. They didn't do anything that was like industry standard. They would cheap out on everything and whatever. And so we used this software called Vegas Video. It's actually not bad software, but like I've never heard of anybody who used it. But I mean, it had keyframes and it had tweens and it had things like that. And so I kind of got into kind of doing kind of motion treatments on people's logos. So they bring you your logo, I'd recreate it in Illustrator, break it up into different parts, and then I kind of like animate it a little bit. It's really more motion graphics than it was animation. But I just kind of fell in love with making things move. But then, I didn't learn the right software and whatever, and I kind of moved on. And so fast forward, I don't know, 8 to 10 years or whatever, and getting my master's. I got my master's from SCAD in design illustration or illustration design, and I thought, you know what, I really want to get back into kind of motion graphics and stuff. And so I did a deal, and if you go to turnofftoactivate.com, you'll see kind of my first attempt a number of years ago using this program called Edge Animate, which is actually a pretty cool program that Adobe came out with. And it was kind of like one of those beta releases, and I did not realize at the time, and I know this now, that Adobe beta releases and beta tests a bunch of stuff, and then they just abandon a ton of it. Even if it's good and even if it has a following, they just throw it out the window. And I'm assuming it's a money game or whatever. But that happened with Edge, and I loved Edge. It was such a simple interface. I had tried a number of years ago to try to learn Flash, because I had a roommate who was doing Flash, and everybody was doing Flash back in the day, you know, during like Homestar Runner times and whatever. And everybody was doing Flash, and it was the least intuitive, most garbage, backwards interface I had ever come across. And it was so awful, because all I really wanted to do was have a timeline, have some keyframes, do some tweens, you know, like, but there was all of this action script and coding and weirdness, and like you had to like add keyframes in and whatever. It was awful. So I never learned Flash. So anyway, Edge Animate was like this breath of fresh air, and I jumped in and I loved it, and it exported into JavaScript and HTML5 and CSS3, and so you had these animations that looked like Flash animations, but they would play on iPhones and iPads and Macs and stuff like that as well. As not being like proprietary, you didn't have to have like special plugins or anything to watch them. And I embedded a bunch in my site, and I really loved it. And then frickin' Adobe abandoned it. They just bailed on it, and they claimed that they didn't. They claimed to say, hey, we're going to roll all the good things about this into this new piece of software where we're going to marry Flash and Edge Animate together, and we'll make Animate CC. And they did not do that. I don't care what they say, they did not do that. I went to Adobe Max, which is like their big conference a little while ago, and in San Diego, And so I went to all of the Animate CC things that I could fit into my schedule, and they showed me all kinds of stuff. And there's this new like character animator thing that's pretty cool that kind of wraps up into After Effects and whatever. And that Animate CC is just the same turd that Adobe Flash was, and they just are shining this turd, and it is still so awful. And yeah, now it can export into multiple formats. You could export, you know, into HTML5 and stuff like that or whatever. But the interface itself is still the same garbage interface that has been around for eons. And it's like it was written before people knew, you know, how to program with the end user in mind. And it is just so awful. Whereas in Edge Animate, I could just throw keyframes down. Like if I move something, it would automatically put a keyframe there, unless I wanted to turn that feature off, which was just a button that you would press. In Flash or Animate CC, I just did air quotes around that. In Flash, like you have to go in and you have to like put blank keyframes in or blank frames in, and they have to fill them. You have to tell them what kind of keyframes they are, and it's just garbage. Anyway, so it's kind of disappointing because I've kind of been getting this itch to go and do an animation. Like I wanted to get a short film done. I got really excited about, you know, I've been doing comics a little bit, and then I've been getting into like kind of editorial illustration, and I've been loving doing stickers and illustrations and whatnot. And you can see that on my site, the more recent stuff, and that's been really fun. But then I thought, you know, I really want to make this stuff move. I'm designing all these characters and coming up with all these cool things, and so I got this story in my head. And so my idea was I really want to make this thing move, right? And so my intention was to learn Animate CC because I had seen that like Titmouse, they do stuff for like Adult Swim and Nickelodeon and stuff. They're using Animate CC, right? So I was like, okay. So I mean, if those guys are using it, you know, I'll check it out. It's garbage. I hate it. I hate it so much I can't even tell you. Like I tried to do it, and I'm not stupid. I can learn new software. Like, I mean, I teach on a collegiate level. I teach software applications and stuff, and so it's not like I'm tech literate. But this is literally the worst piece of garbage, and it would just be like, it'd be like learning Pig Latin. It's like, why? Why would you learn it? Anyway, so I got kind of disappointed, and I said, I wonder what else is out there. I don't know why I didn't come to this at first, but I gotta tell you, After Effects is the bomb. Like, After Effects is so freaking awesome. It is sick. It is super slick for animation. You can do shape tweens, motion tweens, and everything. You can break it down to where you have different timelines for different aspects, as far as like you know, the X position, the Y position, the Z position. You can do camera moves. You've got Boolean curves on your thing. Anyway, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I will be doing kind of a transition as I learn After Effects, a transition from Adobe Illustrator and Adobe Photoshop, those of you that know those two programs, into how that translates into After Effects. Because there are a couple of things about After Effects that are kind of weird, but they're not hard to understand. It's just different, right? And so if you're not used to it, you kind of get in there and you're like, what is going on? But I'm going to do a series of videos that will relate to how Illustrator and Photoshop relate to After Effects, and how you can transition pretty seamlessly from that. Now, you can technically make vector graphics in After Effects, sort of like you can design in Word, or you could use the pen tool in InDesign or something, but it doesn't mean it's a good idea, right? So what I've been doing is I've been creating things like what you're seeing here. I've been creating things in Illustrator, in Adobe Illustrator, and then there's a certain way to organize them in your layers palette that they will show up in a way that is very applicable to the work interface, the what word am I looking for? But very applicable to the interface in After Effects. And the two translate back and forth really, really well together. And so, anyway, it's been cool, and I'm pretty excited about it. So I've got this short film, and I really just wanted to tell you guys about it because doing animation takes so much longer than doing illustrations, because you're doing the illustration and you're making it move. You're doing the illustration and you're going in and cutting it up and whatever. It's not just like a finished still image. It's it's you have to think about like how the elbow is going to bend, and it has taken me so long just to figure out how this one character's like head attaches to the rest of his body. Does he have a neck? Does he have like a blob? Does his head not articulate? Is he sectioned? How does his, because they're all insects, how does his thorax attach to his abdomen or whatever? Anyway, because I've got them all upright, I'm kind of going through this anthropomorphic deal, and so they're all standing upright, and in real life they don't do that. So I'm kind of adjusting them. Anyway, so yeah, so there's been really interesting things like that, but it's been super fun. It's been really cool. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm really excited about it. But the short, if you imagine like Animal Farm, but with insects, right? And so it's kind of about the rise of this dictator, and what that does to society, what it does to families. The people that are kind of crushed with this rise, and the decisions and sacrifices that people should and shouldn't make when they see somebody trying to rise to power like that. So anyway, all this was before we knew who won the election, but it's going to be pretty interesting given the state of what's going to happen in the States in the next couple of years, because we don't know. I mean, there are a lot of people freaking out. There are a lot of people super excited. But I think there legitimately are some things that we should be concerned about when you have somebody who has kind of an unchecked ego and is used to getting everything they want without anybody standing in their way. That's a problem. That's a problem no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. So anyway, so I've got this deal, and I'm going to show the thing here. You'll see it playing, and it's just this short intro. But this is something that I find really cool, and this happens a lot. And maybe this will be what this episode is about. But after I've been talking forever, show your work. Austin Kleon has written a book called Show Your Work, and it is just a fantastic practice. And what you choose to do in your passion projects, in your personal projects, is what people will hire you to do. If you want to make t-shirts, you should be designing t-shirts all the time. If you want people to hire you to design gig posters for them, then you should be making gig posters, doing screen prints. And it just never ceases to amaze me that no matter what it is I'm working on the side of my passion projects, that's what people come to me and say, hey, I want you to do this thing. So I've only been doing illustration for a couple of years. Before that I was doing graphic design, and I got to tell you, graphic design is pretty cool, but I hate it. I can't stand it. And I don't know I don't really want to go into the details of why I don't like it, but it is not fun. I don't like it. It feels like work. And illustration does not feel like work to me. And I love it. And it is hard work, and it is time consuming, and it is long hours, but it is just, for me, I think there's something like this for everyone. It is just so much more fun, and I just enjoy it so much more. Anyway, so I switched over to illustration and started showing my work. And hey, here's the things I'm working on. This is what I'm getting my master's in, and whatever. And I started getting illustration work. And people would shoot me an email or call me up and say, hey, I want you to do this thing. And a lot of the stuff that I've shown in the last couple months is client work, but it is super fun client work. Like I did the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse as motorcycle riders, and I got paid to do that. That was a fantastic project. I love that project, but that was client work. But I had a blast. It was great, and I got paid. Anyway, so I just took one of my characters, that wasp with the camera for the head, and I said, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to break it down, and I'm going to try to figure out this program. So I used that wasp to teach myself how to use After Effects. So I'd literally been using After Effects for a week, after having never touched it before in my life, and I was able to make this character kind of walk flap its wings, move its head around or whatever. And you can see those on Instagram. And somebody called me up and said, "Hey, we want you to do this animated intro to our new podcast, video blog." I was like, "Sweet, yeah, I'll do that." And so it's pretty cool. So that's what you're seeing me build here is kind of the background to that, and I'll play the animation here at the end that I ended up with, and you'll see the intro and the outro. It's just a little bunny that I created for their logo, and you can see how it kind of moves. But just doing passion projects leads to paying work, and you should be doing the passion projects not that you think people want, because I literally can't think of anybody who would want me to animate like a wasp with a camera head for them. That's not like a business is going to come along and be like, "Hey, we want you to do that for us." But they saw what I was doing, and they liked how it looked, and they knew that I was capable of it because I was showing it, and then they hired me to do it. So anyway, this is my first attempt at motion, probably in like 8 to 10 years, probably more like 10 years, since using like Vegas Video a decade ago or whatever. And I like how it worked. I mean, I can see like glaring issues with it that I'm going to improve on, but that's always the case with like everything that I create. But I thought it turned out pretty cool. I really like how it turned out. So anyway, I don't have like a moral of this story or anything, but just passion projects, man. Just doing work that you love, and then you'll get clients that are awesome and are willing to pay you to do things that you like. And if you don't want to take on clients, then you don't have to, and you can keep doing work that you love. Anyway, that's a whole other thing. That's why I like having a day job and doing this stuff in the evening. But so what you're seeing here is you are seeing kind of the intro, and there's some music and stuff that I'm not going to play at this, but you can see the camera move. You see that rabbit kind of jump. You watch his ears kind of fold in. I'll play this through twice so you can see it. You can see like his ears are affected by the explosions that are kind of happening as the light bulbs show up. You'll see like the rabbits move and everything. Look at the parallax and the mountains and stuff like that. This is just a fun one. And then at the end, what you're seeing now is you're just seeing like him like hopping by. It's cool. I'm pretty proud of this. I'm pretty excited about it. Thanks for listening and watching, and I'd appreciate it if you guys wanted to see what I'm working on. If you check me out on Twitter and Instagram, you can subscribe to my newsletter at corykerrart.com/email. If you go to corykerrart.com and click on social media, you'll see the different social media channels there. Like and subscribe if you are interested in seeing me show more of my work, or if you're interested in learning a little bit about how After Effects works as I learn it. And I will tell you how I'm making things work, and I'll have kind of a playlist there, and I'll send out an email to my subscribers, kind of how that works. So check it out. Thanks. We'll catch you guys later.